are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
¿Cómo están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. That's Evo. It is a Sunday. We've got a lot of things going on. There is a lot of topics of conversation to go over, but we're actually going to start today's show with a little different kind of flair. You know, we love youth sports on this channel, and right now we're going to go to sideline reporter producer Amber, who is live with a wrestling match for my son. All right,
guys.
so I got him down there. Let's see, can we highlight him?
Yep, just highlight Mike.
Highlight this guy.
We're going to Mr. Important here.
Oh God.
And we're coming to the end.
Okay.
But G did just win that one.
G did win.
Yes.
Pin or point?
Point, it looks like. You did not pin him.
Oh.
Can you hear
Points.
me?
Win on points. All right. Good start. Good start to the show. Good start to the day for the Carlisle household as well.
Thank you.
And that would be the end of the duel. I assume
yeah.
Did they win that duel as well, producer Amber?
I don't have official, but I'm pretty sure that we did.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you. I know this is a little different than the things that we normally do, but producer Amber coming in clutch there right at the beginning of the show with some live youth sports. But for now, we're going to go ahead and break. We'll get back into the show, and then producer Amber, you will have some more wrestling matches coming for us later on in the day.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, baby. Whoo! All right. Oh, God. Oh, God. The show's going haywire already. Guys, this is the Lineman Lounge. I'm Mike. That's Evo. I'm pumped to be here. So wrestling was supposed to start a little later today. That's why we were going to do the show this morning. It did not. So we're going to have some break-ins, some wrestling. I'm still dad, also the host of this lovely show with my guy, Evo. How is the week been, brother? I know been busy. Shit, it's been busy as hell out here as well. You got a lot of things to get ready for here in the next, couple weeks. You're going to have boys coming out to see you. Christmas is in the air. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm very tired right now. I decided to start watching, not start, but out of nowhere, I decided to watch some of the Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs stuff last night.
Okay.
Which took me until 1 a.m.
Right.
And then I was like, I need my notes for the show tomorrow. So I had to, do a whole bunch of research last night. So I didn't go to sleep till 3 a.m. Here in Arizona, it is now just after 8 a.m. So I'm sipping on my coffee and doing what I can to stay on my tiptoes because I'm just tired as hell. Good week otherwise though. I'm less than 2 weeks from having two little munchkins running around my house and creating havoc. So that'll be awesome. Super excited for that. But I think we're pretty much we are just about ready other than the fine tuning, clean up a little bit, hide presents and go grocery shopping. So good to go there. Ready to talk some sports today. Like you brought up in your Facebook post this morning before the show. We got a lot of stuff that happened here in the last 48
hours,
72 hours. A lot of money got passed around in sports in general. And I know one of the big ones we want to talk about is baseball, but John Rahm. Oh yeah. PGA over to Live Golf. Yes, and which are the same organization, right?
Yeah. So yes and no, which I had to go and do some more digging after I saw the news on John Rahm, and that's a great way to start today's show. We're going to be talking about a lot of money. John Rahm gets a fucking bag. I believe his is also around $700 million, correct?
Yeah, something like that. It's been reported in multiple ways. I've seen upwards of 900 million with incentives and stuff like that. But yeah, it's basically been 10 years, 7 mil, something like that.
Right. So doing some research yesterday, when I saw the news about John Rahm, what I kind of got an understanding of is that this deal that we talked about and touted back in, was it June, with Live and the PGA, where they were going to merge. That has not happened yet. There's not really any collaboration going on so far between the PGA and Live. I think what kind of took place was almost like, hey, we're going to have a meeting. Maybe we'll work together. We'll create some separate entities, but PGA still wanted to kind of hold on to what they had. And Liv's not doing that. Liv is going to continue to poach because they have obviously billions of dollars that they can dole out. $700 million to the number 4 golfer in the world in Jon Rahm. So Liv is going to continue to poach these guys, and PGA is going to continue to lose people until they find a way to merge them and actually merge them. But the way things are going now, it doesn't appear like there's going to be a true merger. The Saudis are going to buy golf, right? Like, that's the way it looks. Like, just flat out, they're going to own basically everything about golf, because the PGA would not get on board when all of this went down. There was, a lot of back and forth about who was going to do what. What do you have on this? Is there something that I'm missing with this? Because what it appears is that Liv is saying, fuck you guys. We're just going to take everybody. We're going to pay them more than you can possibly afford to pay them. And then everybody else in the PGA Tour is going to be asking, where's my big ass bag of money that should have come to me once this merger between Liv and PGA was talked about and, I guess, kind of finalized?
Yeah, it's basically seeming like Liv is like you said, kind of buying golf. They are essentially paying off the PGA to end the war, and it isn't finalized because it's still going through contractual stuff. But in the meantime, PGA can't sit here and bad talk Liv because they're about to be essentially acquired by them or a partner with them.
Right.
And Liv can continue to go after its golfers because it's still got an organization to run. So, I mean, the Saudis are doing what the Saudis are going to do. Once they actually are fully merged, I don't think PGA is going to be doling out the sort of money like Liv is, because Liv is signing these guys to long contracts where they are going to continue playing on that Liv Golf Tour. To put this into perspective, all right. So looking around, I can find stuff from like Wall Street Journal and stuff like that saying that this contract for Jon Rahm is between $300 to $600 million, but most estimates put it at $566 million. Either way, a lot of money. Last year in 2023, Jon Rahm, he made just over 16.5 million the entire season.
Yeah, and he won several tournaments, which is what got him up into that number 4 ranking. So he had to work his ass off to earn 16.5.
Yeah, it was something like he had like won 3 tournaments, gotten second place a couple of times, third place a couple of times, placed a whole bunch. And that's, I mean, not counting his endorsements, which I'm sure are huge, but those endorsements aren't going to go away. This is something like Jon Rahm has talked about. He's a family man. He is trying to set up a future for him and his family. And that if you're getting offered this much money,
take it.
It is like a guaranteed, as long as you're playing and live, this is what you get. You're setting up generational wealth. Like, don't get me wrong, the millions that he's making right now is generational wealth. But
agreed.
If he doesn't manage that correctly or something like that, it'll make it a generation or two. This sort of wealth invested correctly, he is setting up the Rahm family for decades potentially. So
at least.
Like you have to do this. It's not a question of like, is it right or wrong? It's just like, it is right for you, for your family. Yeah, Live Tour is not going away. It is just going to get more interesting. The more big names that go to it is going to make it even more fun to watch. And the longer that it's around, it's going to be more fun to watch. So excited for him. It sucks for PGA and the old guard because they've lost, realistically one of their absolute best players, if not their best player. By many, he's considered like the best golfer out there right now. So
him and Scotty would be easily like those are the two names that would pop into my mind. Him and Scotty Scheffler, like two best golfers on the planet, and you just lost one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I said this before, kind of back in June, when the idea of this was being floated, that there was going to be some sort of merger, is that the PGA Tour is not going to exist anymore. And a couple people thought that maybe I was overstepping, but honestly, like the writing's starting to kind of get on the walls, right? This deal has not gone through. Liv is not dumping money into the PGA. Liv is still dumping money into the PGA golfers, who are then becoming contractually obligated to compete in Liv. But if the PGA doesn't get their shit together, Liv has enough money to buy everybody. And the guys that it doesn't have enough money to buy, they're not going to have anybody to play. The PGA Tour is going to go away unless they find a way to come up with a deal and keep the name and allow the Saudis to kind of run it. It's dirty, ugly business, but it's sports. It's high money business. That's what's going to happen. And honestly, this is kind of one of those domino effects, because we hadn't heard about anybody transitioning over to Liv in quite some time, because there was all this like, oh, okay, well, they're going to become partners together anyway, so what's it matter? Yeah. Well, it makes a big fucking deal. It's a big deal, and it makes a big difference when that has not gone through and Liv continues to poach.
And this is the thing. So he started his professional golf career as an actual PGA professional golfer in 2016. And in the years since, he has had a career earnings of 77 million playing golf. Nothing to scoff at, of course. This being his best year, 2022, his total earnings was just under 12 million. And this last year, he had 21 million. That's counting an extra 4 million bonus for being in the top 10, $670,000 for championship bonuses, and his official payouts from winning and placing, which was around 16.5 million. So 77 million. And in one day, he made more than he's made since 2016 annually, if you want to look at it that way.
I mean, so, he 8x'd his entire career earnings by signing his name on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
That is what Liv can do. The PGA is in deep shit. They better fucking figure out how to make this partnership work. Otherwise, there will be no PGA, and it will only be Liv.
Well, I think what's going to end up happening is that Liv Golf will be the way that things are going right now. Liv is going to become the premier golf league for every weekend competitive golf. You're still going to have, your masters and players and things like that everyone will play in. Liv golf, PGA golf, doesn't matter. And then PGA is going to almost become like your minor league. You're going to have, your Corn Ferry and Q School type stuff that is going to lead into PGA. That's the next step. And then if you start being really competitive and good there in PGA, you might get to go up to the big leagues.
You might get called up to get some Saudi money.
Yeah. You might get added to one of those teams in Liv Golf.
Yeah. That's just the way it's going to go, man. And people, the old guard has got to hate this. I know Tiger hates it. Rory hates it as well, because he very much wants to have that legacy, PGA Tour golfer winning all these Masters and all that stuff. That's gone. That world is gone.
I just wonder what would have happened if from the get-go the PGA had played nice with the people that were jumping ship. Because this feels like Liv is like, okay, you don't want to play nice, we're going to own you now. Yeah. Yes, it was taking a whole bunch of its players, but PGA could have maintained a large amount of its player base, especially for the big matches and stuff like that, and not lost a whole bunch of its allure, credibility. And now you don't seem like you've got golfers that are being catty and bitchy about other people leaving to go get money. If they had just kind of been like, hey, congratulations to those guys going out and getting the bag, and we'll see them when it comes to the Masters and things like that. They could have found a way to do this a lot smoother. And because of the resistance and trying to use a lot of rhetoric of maintaining the game and stuff like that, now they are the ones that kind of seem like they're on the wayside. So, kind of wild. But either way, big contract for John Rahm. And then in baseball, we have, an enormous contract for Shohei.
The largest North American contract in fucking American in sports history. Shohei Ohtani. Now we kind of mused a little bit early in the year. How much is he going to make? This is pretty close to where we were thinking, about $750 million. It's 10 years, $700 million. Now, granted, this first year for the Dodgers, all he's going to do is hit. He probably won't play the field at all. And he's definitely not going to pitch coming off the Tommy John. Is it still worth the investment? He only goes across the street. I think this is a great move for Shohei. Obviously, $700 million. We just talked about generational wealth. Anytime somebody not walks up to your fucking door and hands you a bag of money that it changes your life and your family's life for generations, take the fucking money. Always take the fucking money. But it's great for Shohei, and I think it's going to be good for the Dodgers. Obviously, still massive market in LA, but I don't know if Shohei to the Dodgers helps the Dodgers as much as Shohei to a Seattle would have mattered, or something like that, because the Dodgers already have a massive fan base, massive market. Now, obviously, Seattle would have been great. It's a huge market as well, but they're not as big, as popular as a Dodgers is. So I think the effect of Shohei is not as great as it could have been had he gone to one of these other West Coast teams that could still afford him, but maybe is not quite your Dodgers-esque team.
But I feel like if he had gone somewhere else, like to Seattle, it would have been like a nice bump for a year or two, or maybe 3. But the money being involved in it is going to start to become a detriment to the rest of your team. That's been like the Ohtani effect that a lot of people have been talking about. Is he worth the $700 million? Pure talent wise, sure. Is he worth it when you're trying to build a team? Maybe not, because let's be honest, a Minnesota Twins, a Cleveland Guardians, we're not going out in there and shelling out this sort of money and having
him 1 year, let alone 10.
Yeah, you're not going to have another 8 players out there. You can't afford them, type thing. Yeah. Whereas in this LA market, you can, and I'm sure Seattle could have, but could they afford the rest of the team and the rest of the pieces around him? With the LA market, they're going to bump up their ticket prices and their sales, and they are going to get butts in seats, because not only do they have a very good team to begin with, now they've got potentially the best player in baseball there, who's coming across the street, like you said, not leaving LA. He's just going to
doesn't have to endear himself to a whole new fan base. All those people already fucking know him, and it matters. But there is a huge Asian American market in Southern California, same way it would be in Seattle. That entire West, he was always going to go to a West Coast team because of that dynamic, because of the large population of Asian Americans over there. He was never going to go to a Yankees or a Mets. I don't think that's what he wants. He wants to endear himself to the people and wants to be a guy who can go out and win MVPs and World Series. He's going to have that ability with the Dodgers.
And it's a good situation for him, because he doesn't have to play, because they're already a talented team. He doesn't have to go and do everything that he was doing, pitching and playing the field and batting and everything. He can limit what he's doing to make sure he stays healthy, perform extremely well, and probably lead this team to, a couple World Series in this time frame.
With the way they spend money, they're going to win one for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a great move for him. It's a great move for the Dodgers. I mean, God bless him for having that much fucking money. I wish I could just get a crumb of that, but yeah, it's a move that definitely makes sense. We'll say that.
Yeah, it's great for Shohei. It's good for now. It is good for baseball. People in baseball didn't necessarily think so, because Shohei was kind of secretive about where he was going to go. That's okay. I can appreciate that. Shohei is kind of a private guy. I get that. But did you get people saying, oh, it's bad for baseball? Baseball could have really used this to promote the game and everybody. But then you also get articles from the other side that says, well, when you have somebody who's out there in the media talking about their free agency, that player is selfish or they care more about the money than they care about the game. Like the narratives are impossible to be on the right side of as the player. So I think it is good for baseball. He's going to go to a massive market. Everybody's going to get to see Shohei Ohtani on a more regular basis. The Dodgers are more popular than the Angels. Flat out. That's just the way it is. This is good for baseball. We're going to see a lot of Shohei. And I'm excited to see him hit, I don't know, maybe 40 bombs this year, especially if he's only swinging the bat. And then when next year, after the Tommy John is good, we'll get to see him pitch again as well. Like, he is going to do all of the things again, but he doesn't have to be the whole weight of a team like you talked about. He's got time to recover because the Dodgers are incredibly fucking talented.
Yeah. The only reason why I would say this is not good for baseball is because you are creating a franchise right now that could be dominant and leave everyone else in the dust for some time. And that lack of parity, we see it in sports sometimes. It gets annoying. The Patriots run, as good as they were and everything with Tom, it got old, it got dry, it got stale after a little while because you've got 31 other franchises looking to do something. And at the end of the day, it just seems like, it's going to be the Patriots and someone in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And if I was a Patriots fan, I would obviously love that. But again, you have 31 other franchises. And in baseball, you've got tons of other teams out there that want a chance and they want their shot at going to the World Series. And now it's going to possibly, if everything plays out right for the Dodgers, it's going to feel like, hey, there's already one seed that is taken away from that entire league. So that's where it could be negative. But for the near future, for the next couple years, it's going to be good for the league. It's going to ride high with the Dodgers. So we'll see.
All right. Well, so let's continue to talk about a little bit of money. Interesting storyline. So we started trying to understand this and talk about the story a little bit at the beginning of the year. We didn't fully understand it, but the NBA in-season tournament is now complete. It was what it looks like. The Lakers are the champions of the in-season tournament. They won the in-season tournament last night. Every player on that team who is part of the winning team gets, I believe, a $500,000 boost to their salary, which is why you saw some teams with younger guys like a Pacers, who the Lakers beat last night, being very pumped that they were, doing well in the in-season tournament because they're playing for additional cash flow. It's not a normal NBA regular season game, which, let's face it, nobody really gives a shit about. Like, nobody ever watches regular season basketball. They watch playoff basketball. So you got a little bit of that mixed in with the in-season tournament. Surprised that the Lakers were able to pull us out. Obviously, they don't have the best record. Your team has the best record in the NBA, but they don't win the in-season tournament. Do we like the in-season tournament? Is it weird how it all shapes out? I can tell you that I hate the basketball courts that they use for these fucking games.
It's fine. I mean, it doesn't really mean much other than to the players because, like you said, my Wolves, they are 7-4. They have the best record in basketball. They've won 6 straight. If it was like the best of the best teams, which obviously there was good teams in there, but you're not seeing the elite teams that are going to potentially be making long playoff pushes here, winning the tournament, which leads you to question, like, are some of those teams that are really, really good, are they actually focusing on this, or are they focusing on the rest of the season? Like a team probably should be. I don't know. I mean, congrats to the Lakers. Right now, they are 5th in the Western Conference.
Yeah, hey, you know what? The Lakers don't all the way stink.
Yeah.
Like, they're playing decent basketball right now. They're good enough to win the in-season tournament. They're the number 5 seed. Do I expect them to go on and win an NBA title this year? No. But they got it done for now. That's great for them, right? Like,
sure.
I thought the Lakers were going to fucking suck again.
Yeah, it's always a potential. I mean, that they could suck or they could be a little above average with LeBron there. I don't know. That's, again,
well, health-wise, they are very healthy right now. So
yeah. But either way, as soon as I saw that my Timberwolves weren't involved in mid-season tournament. I just didn't pay attention.
Stop watching. But hey, in-season tournament is over. I thought it was interesting that it was done this quick. Like, let's stretch it. If you're going to do this, maybe stretch this out to just a little bit longer. Give me another week. Like, because the NBA really kind of kicks off at Christmas, I feel like. Like, that's when you get your big ticket games and you start seeing more marketing for the NBA, because right now the NFL is still dominating every aspect of what is happening in the sports world. We're talking about, regular season basketball. If you get higher viewership from this in-season tournament, stretch it out a week, get you to your marquee games on your Christmas day, and then roll through. So it's not bad. Could be a little bit better, but NBA, maybe they actually have a nice little product here. And please get rid of those motherfucking basketball courts. They are awful, dude. I don't know how anybody can make a basket on that fucking court.
I mean, it worked out for the Lakers, I guess. So,
dude, it hurts my eyes. It's so hard to watch. Yeah. But man, I got nothing else basketball wise. I got no baseball stuff. We're ready to transition over into some football.
Yeah, absolutely. And yesterday we had the Army Navy game.
Yes, we
go
did.
Army,
Go Army.
beat Navy.
Beat Navy.
It was. I watched the entirety of it. It was as you would expect, essentially, from an Army Navy game. There was a little bit of differences. It wasn't just the wing tee read option type stuff.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of passing by Army, at least initially. Excuse me, I'm allergic to fucking sour football. Some good defensive plays from Army that kept them in the game. And then Navy was able to make
won in the game.
Yeah, but Navy was able to make a valiant comeback at the end by passing the ball. Who'd have thunk it? This is Navy last year, I believe, in this Army Navy game that was 2 of 12 passing. So not a heavy passing attack from either of these service member academies. But it came down to the end, and it came down to inches when there was, a tush push, a brotherly shove, if you will, that did not convert. That would have also needed a 2-point conversion. Yeah.
2 yards is too far to go for a brotherly shove.
I
don't know what Navy was thinking.
With the Eagles, 3 yards is probably okay. They can do about 3 yards every time. But
for Navy, though, 2 yards was entirely too many to try to get on a brotherly shove.
Correct. And they would have had to get a 2-point conversion to just tie the game after that. But either way, congrats to Army. We all knew they were going to win, of course.
Yeah. Go Army, beat Navy.
Except for Bill Belichick.
Well, Bill was a Navy man, or his dad was a Navy man, so obviously he's got some ties there. Yeah. But I was trying to explain this game to producer Amber, and she's like, "We're gonna watch Army Navy game, right?" I was like, "Yeah, we can watch it. I mean, it's gonna be boring fucking football, but we'll watch Army Navy game." She's like, "Why is it gonna be boring? Do these teams suck?" I was like, "No, so we'll be lucky if we see 20 passes the entire fucking game."
Yeah,
and that's kind of what you expect when you watch an Army Navy game.
When I say I watched the entirety of it, I had it on my second monitor. I was playing Call of Duty. I was grinding zombies campus, so it was on, and I would kind of poke my head up to see what was happening.
Well, you're not going to miss much in an Army Navy game. The plays are not explosive.
There was one real explosive play later on in the game from Army, strip sack, return for touchdown. Right. So that was great. But other than that, I mean, it was it definitely gave me an emotional feeling in my heart listening to the song at the end of the game and everything. So that was awesome. But of course, us being Army fellas, we're happy to see our Golden Knights take one.
Absolutely. I remember being younger and loving watching the Army Navy game. Back before the spread, the spread was around, but the spread wasn't nearly as prolific. There is the word I'm looking for, as it is now. So you would see a lot of the wing tee, like legit wing tee offense.
Yeah.
And it was cool to watch, but you always knew, okay, so this is gonna 10-13 game or 9-7, and that's typically the way it always worked out. It's an interesting brand of football to watch, especially if you understand how the offenses are run. But if you don't know that much about football and you just see all of these different mesh points, like watching the Army Navy game can be a little bit taxing on your passive football fan, especially your passive college football fan.
Yeah. It felt a lot more like I'll say a Midwestern high school game.
Yeah.
Like there's not a ton of passing up there. You get a lot more passing the further south in the country that you end up going because better weather and things like that. And you have, I don't want to say better athletes, but in general, I mean, a lot of your collegiate players are coming from, further south in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of running of the ball and things like that. And look, when teams leading rushers are fullbacks, they're listed as fullbacks. That is some old school style of football. I'm pretty sure Navy's 2 leading rushers outside of the quarterback were both fullbacks. So like they had a running back listed, but like they've got 2 fullbacks that are, yeah. So that is like, we're talking like an early 90s, 80s brand of running the football.
When you have those, and no disrespect to our future officers in the Army and the Navy, they are fantastic. Thank you for your service. Great athletes as well. But when you have substandard athletes competing against the athletes that they have to go against, guys that are going to make it into the fucking NFL, you have to run an offense that is conducive to allow you to compete if you are a substandard athlete. That's exactly what the wing tee, the wishbone, all of that does. It muddies the game up and it allows you to compete. That's why Army and Navy continue to run those fucking systems. And that's why they'll probably never go away, because they're not going to get your caliber of athlete as a high profile Division I athlete.
Like the only way that I really see it working out, I mean, Army's going to ACC now, I believe. So they're changing conferences. There's going to be a little bit better brand of football there. But the only way that they're going to incentivize potentially better players going there is we're not at war right now. So, big name athletes don't have to worry about joining a service branch and then having to immediately go to war or not getting some sort of a waiver in order to play like in the NFL. And 2, they have to really promote, like if you come play for us and you go to a professional, like get drafted by a professional team in whatever your sport is, like we're not going to touch you type thing. Yeah. Like have opt-out options for athletes like that. That's the only way that's going to work. That's also not the way that the service branches work. It's not like, hey, come get an education and play sports for us because you'll be able to get a potential sports feature after that. It's, hey, you're joining the service branch. You are going to get to play some football and stuff as well.
Yeah, the military's going to get that ass. The military is going to get that ass at some point. You are going to give them their fucking time back.
Right. So, unless they were willing to switch that up, you're not going to see a major change. You're not going to see a Roger Staubach playing for a service branch again. It's not the type of era that we're in. You're not going to see another Heisman Trophy winner play for a service branch. And that's kind of a transition into last night. We had the Heisman Trophy ceremony.
Yes, we did.
And we have a new Heisman Trophy winner in LSU's Jaden Daniels. How do you feel about him winning the Heisman?
I mean, when you look at the stats that he put up, it's fucking insane. Like, he's got almost 5,000 yards of total offense, 50 touchdowns. I mean, he rushed for over 1,100 yards. Like, he was special. He was the entire offense for LSU. Now, obviously, Malik Neighbors, very good wide receiver, will be probably number 2 wide receiver off the board behind Marvin Harrison.
It's either him or the guy out of Washington, because Michael Penix was the runner-up, or as RG3 liked to put it, because I watched it last night, Big Penix energy, and he's like, it's all about the pronunciation, guys, and no one laughed. So like, I don't know. But either way,
that joke fell flat. But
yeah, Penix had a elite tier wide receiver as well with him out there, and I can't, it starts with an O, I believe. But
I think when you look at the total touchdowns accounted for, 50, I think Penix had like 35, 36, somewhere in that range. Like the total touchdowns is insane. Plus the additional ability from Jaden Daniels to beat you with his feet is really kind of what won him the award, in my opinion, because he's electric. He's special. Still needs to refine a little bit as a passer, but like if this kid comes out, you take him late round 1, round 2. If he even fall, you might even be able to get this guy falling down to round 3. I don't know if he's a day 3 guy.
Jaden
like
Daniels right now?
Yeah.
No. The most recent stuff, because like I said, I've kind of been keeping up with it even more this year because I think that my Vikings could go get a quarterback. If the mock drafts are to be believed at all, Jaden Daniels has moved himself up heavily into the first round. Possibly the second quarterback taken.
No.
Yes. So the top 3 in contention right now, top 3 quarterbacks are Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels by most sources. Over the past 3 weeks, I have not seen Jaden Daniels out of the first round. I have more so seen him as at least the 3rd quarterback overall taken. Now, some people are taking some shots saying, what if Caleb Williams doesn't go number 1 overall? Which it was a foregone conclusion that Caleb Williams would go number 1 overall for a long time. But with the way that things have kind of played out this year with USC, there are potentialities where you could have a team looking for a little bit less of an ad libber maybe, and they might go for someone like a Drake May instead. There's ways that the draft board could fall where maybe he doesn't go number 1 overall. I have seen one draft board where Caleb Williams goes, or one mock where he goes 5th, and he is not the first quarterback taken. I don't see that happening. I see, the first 4 picks potentially, at least the first 3 picks being Drake May, Caleb Williams, and Marvin Harrison. Not necessarily in that order, but that's probably the way that if you have to put your money on it, that's the way that the board would fall. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix.
Where do you have him? I don't have Jaden Daniels as a firm first round lock. I would have him late. I think he is late first round, second rounder.
I think that you'll probably Caleb Williams and Drake May will be the quick ones off within the first 5 picks. After that is where things will kind of shake up a little bit, and it's going to be a lot more team dependent. Bo Nix is going to be a first rounder. Michael Penix is going to be a first rounder. JJ McCarthy is probably going to be a first rounder. And then you have Jaden Daniels, who I believe at this point will be a first rounder. There will be a sort of recency bias with him because statistically, he is somewhat close to Joe Burrow and his numbers. And we saw a meteoric rise from Joe Burrow late in the year after getting a Heisman, becoming the first overall pick in the draft. And so people are going to start to tie those lines together and say, this is the next LSU prodigy coming out at quarterback. Would you pass up on Joe Burrow if he was in the draft? That's going to be a storyline for a lot of people. His running capability is so much more than that of a Joe Burrow. It's not a Lamar Jackson, but it's a very dual threat type of play. So I think that there's a stark possibility that Jaden Daniels will go top 10. We're going to continue to have to watch this going forward. And of course, we're going to be balls deep in this because we're the Lineman Lounge. We love draft time of year. It's like a mini Christmas for us. Yeah. I would not be that surprised if he is considered a top 10, at least a top 15 pick by the time the draft rolls around. Just Heisman, the stats, the way he's played. We still have, I believe they have a bowl game coming up, correct?
Yes.
So the way that
who know who they're playing, no.
Yeah, the way that he ends up playing in that is going to be big. But
will he play in that? If he's firmly entrenched as a first rounder, does he play? Because I don't have him firmly in the first round, so I think he should play. But if we got people that are mocking him top 10 already, do you play in that game, or you just commit yourself to going to the NFL and go start training and go get ready? That becomes a very big question.
Well, he's still weighing his bowl game, and it is, let's see here. Who are they playing? Wisconsin in the ReliaQuest Bowl on January 1st. Jaden Daniels has not yet decided if he will play. I don't know. Maybe you don't, because you can ride yourself pretty high in the draft just based off their film against Florida. That Florida game was intense, like very impressive. He's gotten better as a passer. Obviously, he's talented as a runner. That's the dual threat and mobility of that sort of quarterback play in the NFL is big. So I think that he probably has entrenched himself as a first-round quarterback. I mean, we had Jordan Travis being talked about as a first-round quarterback prior to the injury. Now, he was a late first-rounder, a fringe first-rounder, but prior to the injury, he was talked about in that sort of spectrum. So Jaden Daniels, I believe, just easy one-for-one swap with Jordan Travis, jumps into the first round, and the Heisman and the stats and everything that he's putting up, yeah, I could see a team biting on it. But you know how draft hype season goes.
Oh, yeah. And especially with the quarterback classes over the last couple of years, like last year, we think is going to be pretty good, right? Mm-hmm. This year has the potential to be just as good. But there was a year where the quarterback class, actually probably about 2 years, where the quarterback classes have been wildly underwhelming. The only guy who's doing anything out of those two classes would be Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence is kind of banged up right now.
Kind of. He's pretty banged up.
But yeah, we're going to talk about that today. We'll see if he's going to play. But like the quarterback classes have been wildly underwhelming over the last 2 years until this set of rookie quarterbacks, where you get an Anthony Richardson, who we saw some good things, but is now hurt. And then, obviously down in Houston, CJ Stroud is fucking lighting it up. We get Will Levis, who comes in, looks really good for a little bit. Like, for one game, looked fucking like he was a stud. And then, so it's
that coffee cooled off because you put too much mayo in it.
Yeah.
This is, I'm very excited in general for the NFL because I truly believe that we're going to get at least 3 quarterbacks out of this, if not like 5 to 6 solid contributors. There's still guys that are going to go in the second and third round that I think long term we will see starting as NFL quarterbacks. Whether or not they're that good, I don't know, but you are going to have guys who are going to make it onto teams and end up becoming starters in that second and third round in this draft because, like I said, we've got probably 5 first-round quarterbacks, at least 4, but probably 5, and upwards of 10 guys who will make rosters, be backups with probable starting time in the next 2 to 3 years.
And the Tim Boyles of the world wept.
Yeah, well, Tim Boyle isn't even on a team anymore, I don't think.
I know. That's just gonna get one more in there.
Yeah. It's surprising that didn't happen a couple of years ago. Thanks, Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
You're supporting the starving backup NFL quarterback market by, if you're friends with me, you get to come play with me.
There you go.
That didn't work
out.
All
right, man. I got nothing else on that. Are we ready to hop over into the world of into NFL, not just football?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Fuck yeah. So we're gonna recap before we move on to the games from for this week. Thursday night, man. The Pittsburgh Steelers fucking suck. They stink real bad. I was surprised that you didn't hop on the train with me to take the points.
I was very much so like 50-50. And then I was like, what sold it to me at the end was I went and looked back at the week prior's tape versus the Chargers. And I was like, oh, they put up 0 points against the Chargers. Terrible defense. Like, they haven't scored more than 10 points in like 3 or 4 weeks. I don't see them being able to put up much more than maybe 6 to 7 points on the Steelers because the Steelers have a solid defense. Like, I just don't see it happening. I was wrong. The Patriots come out and get 21 points, basically probably their best game of the season.
Dude, fucked the over in the first half.
Yeah. So
The under, I'm sorry, not the over. They hit the over in the first half.
But God, Trubisky's terrible.
He's awful, dude.
We knew that, but
that pick, when he threw it to the left-hand side and he threw it late, I was like, that is textbook Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
Throwing it late on your fucking third read to the left-hand side, like that was everything that got Mitch Trubisky let go of his position in Chicago and why he's bounced around for forever. They could never get anything going. Najee Harris is adequate at times. Jalen Warren is explosive at times, but can be covered up. They're just the offense is abysmal for the Steelers right now. It wasn't all Matt Canada. Yes, he did play a part. They have been a little bit better since he has been gone, but the offense doesn't have any talent, man. They don't have enough talent at all.
Yeah.
They don't separate. They don't win on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I'm bummed that I got this pick incorrect, but Zeke Elliott was able to come into this game. We knew that he was going to get a high volume of carries because Ramondre Stevenson was not going to be playing. I was able to grab him in our fantasy league, and he put up a cool 26 points for me. Had that touchdown early, bunch of catches, and a solid amount of total yards. So overall, I'm happy with how this game turned out because it really helped me in fantasy. I need this win this week, and I need a couple other things to fall in place in order to make the playoffs next week as that 6th seed. But I'm doing good so far. So hopefully that ends up working out. But I don't think it changes much other than to say that the Steelers are kind of what we thought they were. They're a overblown team at 7-6 now without much of a quarterback. The Patriots are not a good team.
Yeah, Patriots seem to have found lightning in a bottle for a night.
Yeah. Hunter Henry found lightning in a bottle, I guess.
Yeah, it was his birthday.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry had a big game on his birthday, so.
And that was kind of it. Like,
that's pretty much it.
Still not a great Thursday night game.
Not a great Thursday night game, but we had a good week last week.
I thought you were going to run the card there for a little bit.
Dude, I was getting very excited and very nervous. I was debating cash out, not cash out on parlays. I did not. And then you saw what happened in the afternoon games. I was on a fucking tear, though. I went 10-3 on the week. Evo, you went 9-4. I'm 116-75-2. You are 127-64-2. So still killing it. Yeah, man. I was sitting there. I had a parlay in. I could have cashed out for about $500, but I was like, nah, we got this. The Browns plus the points that we can keep it with the Rams. And that was where it ended. And then subsequently, thankfully, the only game I didn't miss was the Browns. The Chiefs also failed to do what they were supposed to do, as did the Jags fail to do what they were supposed to do. So that made me feel a little bit better about, when I lost that money. But it also did suck to see the Browns go down. But 10-3, pretty good week.
Yeah, and I'm not upset with my week either. About 4 wins is 3 to 4 wins has been generally my standard. 3 to 4 incorrect picks has generally been my standard. So, kind of maintaining true to that.
Yeah. But hey, I'm off to a good start this week. Evo, you got a little bit of catch up. We only have 2 teams on bye this week, so 15 games to get through.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's fucking do this, brother. Let's run it.
All righty. First up, we have the Buccaneers and the Falcons being played in Atlanta. The line currently, according to Caesars and ESPN, Atlanta -2, over under of 40.5. Tampa Bay is 5-1 against the spread while on the road this year. We've talked about this all season. Baker's been playing better on the road. And the Bucs defense is actually getting healthier. They've had a lot of injuries, but they're having a bunch of guys come back for this game. Falcons on the other side, Desmond Ridder, they've been getting the run game going more. They've actually involved Bijan, which is nice as a fantasy owner of him. Home game for the Falcons, and this NFC South race is still lukewarm because everyone sucks. What do you got for this game?
This game is going to stink. But Falcons have been better recently. 3-0 outright and against the spread against the NFC South this season. So they have been very good against the NFC South. I think they might be able to do it again. But with the amount of points, Baker on the road, I like the Bucks here plus the points to keep this game close. Falcons have not buried anybody by any means. I like Baker in a dome, climate controlled on the road. I like that. So I'm going to go Bucks plus the 2.5, but Falcons have been much better. I got a feeling here that the Falcons, while have been good, they're bound to do something real dumb. And it could be today where they don't give Bijan the ball enough. So I'm going Bucks plus 2.5.
Well, I hope that they give Bijan the ball a shitload and that he has a fantastic game. But I too am actually going to be taking the Bucks plus the points here. Little bounce back for the Bucks here. I'm not a huge fan of this Falcons team in general, and I think that these teams are going to do what they have to do, including the Saints, in order to all maintain just about the same record. Right now, the Bucks are 5-7, Falcons are 6-6. If the Bucks get a win, it's going to make them 6-7, and the Falcons 6-7, and that's the sort of fun situation that the NFC South wants to promote. So it's not competitive football; it's just shitty average football. I'm going to go with Baker and the Bucks on the road, where they've been playing good, especially against the spread. So Bucks plus 2 points for me. Vegas
plus 2
also.
Or you got 2.5? Because I got it at 2.5.
I got 2 on here currently, according to ESPN and Caesars.
Let me pull up.
I can find FanDuel has 2.5, and most other places are 2. Yep, FanDuel is the only one at 2.5 right now.
Okay, so since that there's only one book at 2.5, we'll go with the predominant number. We'll go 2s. I still like it plus 2. Go with that. And as well.
The bets are about evenly split between all the books. Who's taking which team? Though 76% of the money is on the Bucks.
Okay, so people like the Bucks. I like the Bucks. Yeah, we'll go with the 2. Change it on our tracker instead of 2.5. We'll go with the 2. All right, brother. What's our next game?
Next up, we have the Lions and the Bears, a NFC North matchup. We've got this game played in Chicago. The line is Detroit minus 3.5, over under of 43.5. You have a Bears team that was able to go out and secure a win. Last week? Not last week. It was 2 weeks ago versus my Vikings. That we lost to them.
Yes, 2 weeks ago.
Terrible.
4 picks.
But this game is being played in Chicago. I'm going to pull up the weather right now because earlier in the week, it was expected to be cold, maybe a little bit rainy, but very windy. And I want to see what we're looking like today.
All right. Well, while you pull up
about
the weather
20 miles an hour, it will be cold. I'm not seeing any precipitation.
All right, so wind going to be a factor. That's pretty windy, but I got some interesting information. So Bears last week on the bye should have plenty of time to come into this game, prepare for this game, and be ready to go and give the Lions a good game. Who are, as of right now, I see it 3.5. You got the same line for you, 3.5.
Correct.
Okay, that's not high enough. The Bears stink. And not only that, they fucking stink coming off of a bye. They're 1-8 against the spread in their past 9 games following a bye. The extra time has not helped them at all. Do you see it helping them here? I sure as fuck don't. More time for a coach who's kind of in over his head to work with a quarterback who he doesn't like and a quarterback who doesn't trust his head coach either. Like, this relationship is not going to continue to work. I love the Lions here, and I'm actually going to drop the points. We could see a big day out of both the running backs from the Lions and mix in some safe passes from Goff. Like, that seems very likely the case to me. So, yeah, I'm going Lions, and I'm dropping the 3.5.
Well, I'm not surprised the Lions are definitely a favorite pick here. But I'm going to be going the complete opposite direction. I'm taking the Bears plus the points. Detroit is 11-2 against the spread in their past 13 divisional games. However, windier game, that's going to hurt passing attacks a little bit. The Bears are decent with their rushing attack. Goff, he does not play well away from home, and he does not play well outside of domes. As a fantasy manager of him this year, I have seen this kind of week in and week out, and something that I've actually been paying a lot of attention to. I have a thought of playing him every time that he's playing at home. But it's pretty much all CJ Stroud for me now.
Yeah.
Lions are also on back-to-back road games. They played last week versus the Saints, and this was a beat-up Saints team, and they only barely got the win. It was 33-28. That worries me a little bit because the Saints aren't that good of a team. That wasn't a dome. Yes, it was away, but Saints are not that great of a team. That was a lot closer than I expected it to be. Bears, I believe, are a team that people like to sleep on, and this Lions defense has been pretty atrocious. Mostly the secondary, but it's been pretty atrocious. The earlier game this year versus the Lions and the Bears, that was won on an Aiden Hutchinson kick the ball out of the back of the end zone safety or whatever, right? So that one was actually really close earlier in the year, and that was in Detroit. This one being in Chicago, that might even the playing fields a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to go the Bears plus the 3.5 here.
Okay, Bears plus 3.5. First disagreement of the show. This one was quick. Normally we're on the same page for a little while.
For a little while, usually, yep. All right, next up, Colts and Bengals being played in Cincinnati. The line is Cincinnati minus 2.5, over under of 43.5. Indianapolis is on a 4-game win streak. So they're actually looking okay, I suppose. Gardner Minshew is playing above average ball right now, which he is capable of doing. On the flip side, Jake Browning last week has a phenomenal game for the Bengals. He had an 87% completion percentage, 354 yards, 2 touchdowns, and in his first 2 starts, he's had an 81% completion percentage. So obviously Zach Taylor is catering that offense to easy passes, things like that. And you know what? It makes sense when you have guys like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd all out there being able to receive the ball. We're also seeing a healthy amount of Joe Mixon, but also rookie, I believe is Chase Brown. I'm not positive. He had some real explosive plays that game as well. So Bengals looked real good last week going up against the Jaguars. And really what kind of cemented that game was Trevor Lawrence going out. But it's no fault of Jake Browning and that offense. It really comes down to the defense, specifically Lou Anarumo's defense, which has been pretty atrocious this year. Can Indy take advantage of that going into Cincinnati and get themselves a win here?
I don't know if they'll get the win, but I think they'll definitely keep it close. I like the Colts plus the points. Listen, the Bengals have not been good in games without Joe Burrow. Like they're 2-7 against the spread in games that Joe Burrow doesn't start, especially if they're not getting points. Like they're giving up points in this and without Joe Burrow. So that number is even scarier to me. Zach Moss, very capable of running the ball. He has shown that he can go out and be a bell cow back for somebody else, because I don't know if he's going to stay there with Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, I believe, should be healthy for this game, though. Should be playing.
No.
No, he's not.
Still ruled out.
Yep. Still out. Okay. So, but I'm confident in Zach Moss. He's shown that he can be effective with running the ball. Gardner is playing good football right now. I like the Colts plus the points against a Joe Burrow-less Bengals. And you got it 2.5, or is this at 2 now as well?
It is 2.5. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I like the Colts plus the points, plus 2.5.
All right. I'm going to ride with the Vikings train. Jake Browning and the Bengals. I'm going to go Bengals money line here. I like what I saw out of Browning last week. I like what I saw out of the Bengals last week, despite their defense being shitty. The Colts, I think they've played a relatively soft schedule that's gotten them to that 7-5 record. Minshew has played good, but I don't think that is going to be a consistent thing. 4-game win streak for the Colts is not something that you would expect to see, especially with a backup quarterback playing. And so I believe that's a little bit of an outlier. I just feel a little bit better here about the Bengals at home being able to control the situation and have a better game. I don't feel great about this game either way. To be completely honest, when I first looked at this, I thought it was since he was getting points. So if that was the case, I was going to take it.
Well, so if Cincy were getting points, I'd take it with them being at home. But so you're talking about kind of the trends, like can Gardner continue to play this way? Can Jake Browning continue to take care of the ball at the rate that he has? That is a big question mark for me. He's looked good, but when you look at what they've done, it has been all very, very safe throws. If he starts to push the ball down the field a little bit, if this gets into a little bit of a back and forth shootout, who's going to make the mistake first? A young Jake Browning who has not as much experience, or a Gardner Minshew who has had a little bit more run? I'll take Gardner in that situation. And that's why one of the reasons I'm going with Colts plus points.
Sure. And Vegas is on with you. 63% of the money, 63% of the votes or bets are on Indianapolis for this game, though early money had it almost dead even split. Yeah. So we'll see. All right. Next up, we have the Panthers and the Saints in another fantastic matchup. You know, kind of some of these early slates are not the ones that you want to stay up for. I might take a nap myself personally, but the Saints.
I got a game to watch, so I will actually be watching. But
the Saints have lost 3 in a row. Carr is expected to start as of right now, but he's battling multiple injuries: shoulder, head, hip, rib. I don't fucking know. Lots of injuries. Jameis Winston keeps on having to pop in there and play a little bit of ball. Which is Jameis Winston football, you know, high explosive plays and turnovers. I don't know what the Saints are thinking right now with their offense. They've not been playing Taysom Hill as much as they should be. Not necessarily at quarterback, but just like putting him on the field. And I believe he actually might be injured as well now. But like there was a couple of times when I thought that they possibly were going to win some of these games in this 3-game skid. And Taysom Hill was sitting on the sidelines watching. And I was like, well, you're leaving one of your more dynamic players out. I don't like that. And then just kind of going to keep this narrative going. The Panthers, since 2018, have only won 31% of their games. They've had 6 head coaches in that time frame and 10 different starting quarterbacks. Now, again, this is the Carolina Panthers, not the Browns of 5 years ago. All right. What happened in 2018? Well, that's when David Tepper bought the team. Yeah. So, terrible organization as far as his run from the top. We have a new Dan Snyder potentially in the NFL. How long before we start hearing some shitty stories about David Tepper fucking cheerleaders and stuff like that come out so that way the NFL can get him out of there and make Carolina competitive again? This is the thing is that like if the Saints if the Panthers are going to win another one, this would be it probably.
Agreed.
But
this is the game that they could win.
I don't have a lot of faith in it because the Panthers are so bad.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in it either. They are bad, but the Saints have been equally bad recently. And this is a big spread for a team that's dropped 3 straight. You're favorited by 6 fucking points. Like that's a lot. And when you lost 3 straight. The Panthers have not been good really at all, but they have found ways at times to be competitive in games. Like they pushed the Texans to a close game.
And they won that game. That was
that's right. They did win that. They won
15-3. Yep.
They have a chance to keep this thing close. So for teams that are not great on offense, we're not sure who's going to play at quarterback, if it's Jameis or what's going to happen. I like the idea of getting 6 extra points. I'm taking the Panthers plus the points, especially when the Saints are the only team to not cover at home this year. They're the only team who has not covered at home. Panthers plus the points.
Yeah, Panthers plus 6 does seem like the play here. I am very tepid towards taking the Panthers for anything.
Yeah, understood.
It's a tough one. It's not. I hate these games because it's just 2 bad teams playing. I'm going to go the safer play. Saints money line. I feel a little bit safer with that, though there's nothing safe about this game.
This game is garbage. It's going to be hot garbage. And if you're betting this game, it'll be high drama probably for the entire game.
95% of the money is not even on this game. It's split. a slight majority going towards the Saints, both in bets and money. But I think this is one that Vegas is probably just staying away from because who gives a fuck? But one that's a little bit more interesting, I suppose. Texans and Jets.
I'm very excited.
Out in New Jersey. This is the Zach Wilson-led Jets again.
Bury him. Put this experiment to fucking bed. It's over. Please.
Despite him not really being sure if he wanted to be a starter there anymore.
Exactly.
He is starting for the Jets. The line is Houston -3, over under a 33.5. Texans last week beat the fraudulent Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson did not look good. The Texans offense looked great, but they lost Tank Dell, which is a big loss for them because he's been explosive this year. However, the Texans defense really stepped up in that second half of the game. And started to look really good. Flip side, Jets have no offense, like almost at all. Can't score points, but their defense is very, very solid. So it'll be an interesting one in that regard because I don't expect that anyone thinks anything special is going to happen from the Jets offense. And I believe that the Houston defense is going to be able to contain that Jets offense. It's can CJ Stroud and that Texans offense minus Tank Dell actually put up some numbers against this Jets defense and really a good pass defense. You still have Noah Brown. You still have my guy out there at wide receiver. I can't think of his name right now. I call him my guy.
Nico Collins?
Nico Collins, yes.
Yeah. I like Nico, dude.
Yeah. Who's the Cowboys tight end that they ended up getting this year as well?
I was about to say Ferguson, but that's their current tight end.
Yeah.
God damn it. I don't remember
Dalton
his name.
Schultz.
Dalton Schultz.
Yep. So they got some pieces out there, and then they've been doing a really good job of running the ball lately, splitting it up between Singletary.
Singletary is pretty decent, dude. Like,
yeah. And Pierce.
I like what they've done with him.
Yeah. So for me, I think that this could be a lower scoring game just because of that pass defense. However, I love the Texans where the direction that they're going. So I'm going to be taking the Texans money line in this one. I don't want to drop the points just because it could be lower scoring. And the Jets defense does stack up well against what the Texans offense is going to do. But overall, they're a better team right now. So Texans money line for me.
Yeah, so this is actually the first game where I'm not going to take a spread. I'm going to hop on the train with you. I love the Texans in this game. Do I think they can cover? Yes. But I'm going to play this one a little safer. I'm going Houston on the money line as well. I'm ready to watch the Zach Wilson experiment finally be put to rest, at least with the Jets. If somebody else wants to sign him and give him a shot, fine. But the New York market, that New York Jets team needs to be done with Zach. He's not going to go out there and win you this game. There's no way. He didn't even want to play fucking quarterback for you guys anymore. This is going to be over. Texans, they could easily bury this Jets team. So money line feels fine, feels safe. It's not a massive spread either. So the odds are not terrible if you take them on the money line. You're going minus 190 as opposed to if this was like a fucking 14-point spread, which this game could be where you're looking at minus 500. So, yeah, I like Texans on the money line there, too.
And this game actually had opened up at 5.5 for the Texans, which was at the time the largest spread that the Texans have had as a favorite since 2020 when Deshaun Watson was their quarterback. So things have mellowed out a little bit. I think people have been like, hey, this is actually good defense going against a good offense. It might be a little bit lower scoring because of that. That's dropped that spread a little bit. So if you got it earlier in the week and you got the Jets plus the 5.5, good on you, I guess, but I don't know. That's still something that the Texans could have beaten. But the safe play here. And
if you got scared away from 5.5 earlier in the week and you want to bet it now, 3.5, I feel like is very doable.
Yeah, and it's 3.5 is the best that you can find for the Jets, but most sites are minus 3 points. So and 74% of the money. 74% of the bets and 76% of the money right now is on Houston. So most people see what we're seeing out of this one.
Yeah, Jets fans are keeping those numbers almost respectable.
Almost. Next up, we have the Rams and the Ravens being played out in Baltimore. The line is currently Baltimore -7.5, over under of 41.5. Rams, they've won 3 straight games. They're actually tied for a wild card spot there in the NFC. Meanwhile, the Ravens are 4-0-1 against the spread in their last 5 meetings with the Rams. Ravens coming off of a bye week, traditionally not that good coming off of a bye. Where you got this game going?
I mean, the Rams are playing pretty good right now. They obviously showed that last week. Our defense did not do much, but the Rams going out all the way to Baltimore, that's a long fucking trip. Lamar Jackson is very good. Late in the year, coming off a bye, there, man, whatever. But like, this feels like a safe bet, and I'm okay with doing it. I'm gonna go with the Ravens on the money line. I'm not up and down. I'm not doing any points with this game because I thought that we could beat the Rams last week. They showed that we couldn't, but we've also seen the Rams like, okay, they could win this game and then they fucking lose. This team is very up and down, and going against one of the premier teams in the AFC on a long fucking travel week. Yeah, I'll take the Ravens, just money line there.
Yeah, that's definitely a safe bet. I'm going to take the Rams plus the points, though. I like what they've been doing. Stafford has looked good. Kyron Williams is back running the ball really well. Puka and Kupp have been dynamic out there. And the defense has surprisingly held its own despite having Aaron Donald and 10 other Jags out there. So safe play would be Baltimore money line here. I promote everyone to do that. I'm being a little bit more risky and going Rams plus the points. Just because I feel it in my plums. I don't know.
There you go. Deep down in plums.
And I'm trying to find the betting numbers here. And 55% of the money and 55% of the votes are on the Rams for this one.
Rams plus the points. All right.
Yeah. All righty. Next up, we go to our afternoon games. We have the Seahawks and 49ers. Joe Rockstar, been waiting for this one, I'm sure. My notes are, there's no notes. It's San Francisco in this game all the way. They played in Seattle earlier this year and handled the Seahawks perfectly fine. The 49ers, ever since getting off of that bye week, have looked like the 49ers that we expect to see. They went and gave the Eagles a bit of a butt whooping last week as well. 49ers are potentially the best team in football, at least the best in the NFC, in my opinion. Cowboys fans slowly roll. 13.5 points is a lot. This is the easy, safe one for me, though. 49ers money line. Seahawks valiantly played against the Cowboys and kept it very close. They're not going to be able to do that 2 weeks in a row with 2 really good teams here. So 49ers for me. I don't really have a whole lot else to say about it.
This is a slam dunk, easy. It's just 49ers and it's money line. I even thought about dropping the points because the Seahawks are not going to be able to show up. They're not going to score any fucking points. Geno Smith is questionable to start in this game, projected for 0 points in fantasy. That's why I'm starting Baker Mayfield in fucking fantasy this week, which I don't love that idea. But yeah, without Geno being available, if he's not available to go, the Seahawks have no fucking shot.
I was kind of surprised they didn't go out there and get yourself a Jake Browning, who was still available.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple guys that were floating. I don't know if I trust Jake Brown. They're doing a great job with Jake of keeping him safe right now.
There's a reason why I dropped Geno in our fantasy league.
Yeah.
Between him and Goff at the time, it just wasn't worth it.
Well, I went no quarterback. I didn't draft a quarterback until like the 6th or the 7th round.
Yeah, and that's a good bet. I think I was about the same thing.
Yeah.
But you went with Deshaun Watson, and man, that one didn't rub itself out the right way for you. No. So, but your record otherwise has been pretty good. Hopefully your quarterback play gets a little bit better here in the playoffs for you.
Yeah, I was hoping for more happy baby pose, but didn't get it.
Nope, not today. But yeah, Geno is, I guess, expected to play, but still kind of questionable. Drew Lock is absolutely terrible as the backup, and they elevated Sean Mannion, who is also god awful. So not a great quarterback situation up there. Both Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker are dinged up, both expected to play though. So Zach Charbonnet owners who might have been playing in fantasy, you're probably going to see a dip in his numbers significantly in this one. Other than that, yeah.
Joe, call back. Yeah, sorry, Joe. Joe tried to call. I was resetting all this stuff up to get it hooked up. So if Joe calls in, we'll get him on the line here.
Yeah. But 49ers all day on that one. Money line is easy play.
Yeah, the 49ers, this is a fucking slam dunk. I'll give Joe another minute to see if he catches up and wants to call back in. But yeah, man.
For what it's worth on this one, Vegas, only 56% of the bets and 52% of the money are on San Francisco. That's because when you have a big point spread like that, especially after the week that Seattle had last week, people are going to try to take Seattle plus the points. But yeah, it's in this situation, I don't see that repeating. That was definitely flukier.
It was, yeah, a little bit.
And it's scary for me as a DK owner because I want another good week from him.
Call from
Joe Rockstar.
To accept, press 1.
Joe Rockstar, you are on with the Lineman Lounge. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Good. Evo, you can hear me. All the sound is working?
Yep.
Let's fucking go.
Oh, I can hear both of you. Good. Okay, cool. It's been a while since I called. It's been a while since I had a Saturday when I could call. It's been crazy here. But
yeah, it's crazy out in Alabama.
What's that?
Crazy out in Alabama.
Yeah, things are going pretty well, actually. I got a promotion, so I'm much more busy now.
Congratulations.
Joe Rockstar.
Thanks. Yeah. Had to go out to Grand Forks Air Force Base, which was no fun. But anyways, I did make it back to watch the Eagles and the Niners game, and I took a little heat in the Facebook group for saying something about the refereeing. Somebody said something like, "Hey,
it was passive
about
heat.
the ref even when he wins."
It was passive heat.
Well, I mean, it's fine though, but it makes I get it. Listen, my complaints about the refs is not about whether we win or lose because of refs. It's about how much they affect the game. And it's kind of irritating to watch. And now this week, I got to be a freaking Cowboys fan, which is sickening. It's making me a little, I got an upset stomach over it. But no, those two tackles and on the Eagles. So everybody's been, at least in the Niner forums and stuff like that, I've been seeing a lot of complaints about those two guys getting a false start on almost every play and not getting called on it. Because they're lifting that kick leg before the ball snaps.
Mm-hmm.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you guys know as much as I do. I believe the rule is you can lift your kick leg.
Yes.
It just can't touch the ground until the ball snaps.
That is correct. One of the Chiefs tackles,
apologize for that.
Orlando Brown, is kind of was the famous ones here because it looked really bad when he was doing it in those nationally televised Chiefs game earlier in the year. But they actually had the rules analysts come in and say, like, this is legal. He is allowed to do that. Now, are you tipping the defense off to when you're snapping the ball? Yes, kind of. But if you're going up against a premier pass rusher or something like that, having that extra half second of step is probably important. So it is not illegal. That is a legal thing to do. Like you said, you are allowed to move that kick leg early.
So you just can't plant it, right? It can't come back down to the ground until the ball snaps. Is that the rule?
I believe so.
Yeah. So, anyways, and in the interest of fairness, when on one of Debo's 3 amazing touchdowns, Kittle was blocking 2 players, and he's getting a lot of credit in the media for blocking 2 players, but
a lot of jersey was happening.
he was holding one guy's shoulder pads and the other guy he's holding them around his waist. So I get it. It goes both ways, but it's not. I'm not trying to complain in favor of my team. I'm trying to complain in favor of the game.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of conversation again. Now, this is a story that we ran with for the first 10 weeks last year. All we did was talk about the fucking referees and how bad they were. We couldn't talk about it anymore, but it never got better. It's not that the problem didn't go away.
That's the problem. It doesn't get any better.
Yeah, it hasn't gotten any better. We've seen that the PI calls that have happened. that are
or
no
not
calls,
happen.
or yeah, exactly.
I
that
mean,
should have
the
happened.
Chiefs were gifted a loss by a no call on a horrendous PI in Green Bay last week.
Evo, I'm glad you brought that up because that was like a really big one. That
Yeah.
kind of like, it kind of irritates me that everybody looked at it like the Chiefs lost because they didn't get a PI call, but at the same time, they got it free 15 yards on a third down play.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have happened.
Well, that's the thing is that
so it's just ruining the game the whole way. You don't know what would have actually happened if they weren't making these bad calls.
Right. And you are going to have missed calls throughout the entirety of a game. It is those critical moments when they take away coaches' challenges and everything is being reviewed by New York and stuff like that. And you see such bad calls happening that truly can impact the outcome of that game, where like on that situation, the Chiefs would have had the ball within 10 yards, I believe, of the goal line. And it would have probably led to points, assuming that they're going to kick at least a field goal there. And meanwhile, you get a PI call when the Packers get the ball back. That was a little bit more questionable of if it actually happened. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs receiver was being tackled before the ball ever got there very egregiously. And there was no call made. And that truly felt like it impacted the outcome of the game. Yes, the Chiefs should have done better in combating that Packers team, because I don't think the Packers are that great. Yeah, they've had a better run recently, but it really seems like at the end of the game, when the calls mattered, they flip-flopped the reality of the calls. And I hate that from the NFL officiating. That crew in particular, and that's a story that I popped up on the Lineman Lounge Facebook page. The NFL is investigating that crew because of terrible calls, specifically terrible PI calls, not just from this game, but this season going into last year. So it's not, it's being noticed by more than just us and more than complaints from just fans of those particular teams.
And I would be okay if the NFL would just come out. I don't like the idea of having calls reviewed, because you open up a whole can of worms. It can get really fucking ugly. But what I do like is maybe if the NFL would, institute something like the NBA has, where they will give you the final 2-minute report. They will acknowledge, what, we fucked up, we missed this call, or we made this call when we shouldn't have made this call. Give me some sort of accountability. And you know what? I will be more inclined to not bash on the referees, because at least they're acknowledging that they made mistakes. But we don't get that. We have no accountability, and they're not full-time employees, so they don't give a fuck.
It's easy to say, like, right now, and I'm not questioning how honest you are about that, but if they started issuing apologies and that became like the standard and the norm, we'd start to get pissed off because they're not fixing it. Like it would work for a little while, but eventually we get used to getting the apologies and be like, fuck the apology. We want the
result,
calls,
right?
Well, I think the result. But we've talked about it a lot. We want NFL refs to be full-time employees, right? If you are performing bad at your job in regular life, you are either going to be reprimanded or relieved if you are bad at your job. That's normal. You don't really see that happening with these officiating crews, though. If there's reprimands, we don't know about it. The reprimands that we know about is that they don't get to be a ref in a playoff game, which sounds like it's just we're taking away a reward potential for you. You're not getting your bonus, but you're maintaining your job, because refs get paid more when they officiate in playoff games and Super Bowl games. That's it. Yeah. I think that not only should they be full-time employees, but just like players get penalized and fined for when they fuck up on the field, which some of the times, like on these defensive receiver hits and things like that, some of them are bang bang plays where the guy can't really do a whole lot about it, but he's going to receive a fine because he hit another dude super fucking hard. Like those ones, those fines and penalties, those kind of suck. But for the refs, if they're making these fuck ups, they have to have some sort of penalty, and it's got to be monetary. And you start to lose money when you're making these bad calls. That's the only way that we're going to see change in action, because then refs are going to be like, hey, my paycheck matters. If I fuck up or not, I have to pay attention to this a lot better, because you don't
So how
see
would you
refs going away.
how would you go about instituting that? Would you expect, like, if they made a bad call, of course they're going to get penalized for it, but what if they had a no call?
It's the same way to me, because like that no call last week in Green Bay, it's when it's as egregious as it is, they have to have some sort of a matrix of whether or not the play was clear and obvious, not clear and obvious, things like that, and if the incorrect call was made. It doesn't have to be a flag thrown when it shouldn't have been, or no flag thrown. It was just, was the correct call at the time not made? And
That's so tough.
Yeah, it's hard.
it is tough. But the NFL,
it's hard to say nothing.
the NFL does this
It's hard to
already
deny
when
it, though,
when it
when you're
decides to create fines for players. It seems completely arbitrary how they fine players. Sometimes guys will get fined
I agree.
$10,000 for a hit, and sometimes they're like, the hit seems bigger, so the guy gets fined $20,000. How the fuck do they determine that? It is an arbitrary panel of people deciding what the fine is going to be. You can do the same sort of thing with those refs,
which they will never
And it's hard
agree
to deny, it's hard to deny like a no call too when you're in the frame during the highlights. You see the ref standing there looking right at it, and he doesn't make a call. He
right on
flag.
it. Hand on the flag. He's like, nah, you know what? Nah, fuck it.
Yeah. I feel like walking out of the stadium tonight without the boo bird, so I'm not going to throw this flag type thing.
Yeah. We also had a little discussion, or there was a little discussion in your guys' Facebook group about rules that shouldn't be rules, right? Like, what was it? We were talking about the quarterback hits. Now it's going to be two-hand touch kind of thing. One of the things that really got me in the Niners-Eagles game, of course, I'm talking about my Niners again, but the Dre Greenlaw picked up that guy and slammed him. I'm going to say this. As he's fighting for yards, you don't want to get slammed, go down. Stop fighting. I think that's a dumb fucking rule.
I don't know. Dre Greenlaw he's got to stop him. Devontae has got to continue to try to fight for yards. That's a football play. I don't even see a reason to really throw the flag other than the finishing through the out of bounds. Okay, that's tough. But what can't happen is you cannot have a guy on the sideline get into the face of a player. Players can talk to players. A coach can kind of talk to a player, but you can't have somebody who's on staff in the face of a player. That can't happen.
See, I feel opposite about it.
There's two separate issues. When he picks this guy up and throws him on the ground, my whole thing was like, if he didn't do that, that guy would have probably got another 2 yards, 3 yards maybe. He had to try to stop him, and I just don't think that it's right that they call it that way. There were 2 yards inside the field of play. He just landed out of bounds once he put him on the ground.
I thought that they had already blown the whistle on it, though, and
the whistle blew like right when he. Yeah, but he already had him in the air. Like, what are you going to do? You're already in the air, falling backwards. I mean, it's going down. But anyways, the second thing with the guy on the sidelines, like, I don't know what happened. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but wasn't there such a thing as a bench penalty?
Yeah, there's a sideline infraction penalty.
Yeah, and that's usually that's while play is happening, though, because the staff and stuff can be, after the play is over, the staff can kind of be on the field and whatnot to an extent. My issue is that I believe the guy's name is Dom, the head of security for the Eagles. Like, he was standing there with the rest of his team, and you can see him mouthing that was bullshit to Dre Greenlaw, but he didn't. Like, it looked like there was about to be a fight. If anything, he's stepping in, like, it looks like, to be a buffer between the players. But I didn't see him necessarily getting in Dre Greenlaw's face.
He was just talking shit.
Yeah, he was saying that was bullshit. That was bullshit. Dre Greenlaw took a swipe at him. Like, I wouldn't say that was in. It's different. Like, if he got up into his face mask.
There we go. Let's evolve the conversation.
If he got up into his face mask and he's like, you're a bitch, blah, 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 that's one thing. But I didn't think that there was a necessary penalty or anything like that against the bench there.
First of all, it's a fact that guy shouldn't have even been there. That's a fact. Second of all, he did push fucking Greenlaw in the chest to try and break him up. Now, I get it. He's trying to break him up. Now, on Greenlaw's side, I totally fucking agree. Greenlaw irritates the shit out of me. And players with this pride issue where they have to talk back, they have to show how fucking tough they are and shit and get in people's faces, irritates the fuck out of me. Be a fucking professional, walk away. So I don't think Greenlaw's right. I don't think this guy's right. My freaking issue is that you have a bench that committed a penalty there by having a guy on the field where he shouldn't have been, and he touched the player. They get no penalty. Our freaking one of our best linebackers. Well, we have two great linebackers, but one of our linebackers gets kicked out of the game. We get a 15-yard penalty. In fact, you could argue that the Eagles scored on that drive from penalties. It was all penalties that got them down the field. And I mean, we get a 15-yard penalty. They don't get any penalty. If anything, that should have, if you ask me, that should have been offsetting and replay the freaking down or something. I don't know, but it's just I don't think it was right what happened.
Well, it was
on either side of it.
the penalty for slamming him happened during the play. Like after the play, all that stuff would be separate penalties. So it wouldn't offset and replay the down, but it could have been negating yards.
But the object is to compete or to what is it? Yeah, you wouldn't have to. There'd have to be some kind of consequence for what they did as well.
Yeah. So
and the point is that
each
it
person
keeps
gets
control on the game. It keeps control of the game, though. Also, you know what I mean? Like you're basically like you're giving him a freebie. Yes, he got kicked out of the stadium and all that other stuff, but
and he's not allowed to be on the sideline this game.
And let's say if they called it and he pushed, let's say they called it the other way and he pushed freaking Dre or something and they gave them a penalty and moved them back 15 yards or some kind of crazy result of that call where Dre doesn't get any penalty. It's fucked up either way. Like both teams need to fucking feel a little pain for that. And it needs to, that will encourage people to not go running off the bench to get themselves involved in something that the refs are responsible for breakup,
Yeah, and we can definitely agree to disagree here on this one. I didn't think that what he did was egregious. It's not abnormal for coaching and staff to be on the sidelines with the players there. And if it looked like a scrum was about to break out, because once Greenlaw slammed Devonta Smith to the ground, like you have other players and stuff getting up in there as if there's about to be a scrum. And it's not abnormal for coaching and staff to kind of break things apart. Now, like, again, you could see that the Eagles members saying that was bullshit. But I didn't perceive it as he got in his face or anything like that. Did he put hands on him? Yes. But it seemed like they were trying to separate the groups. So I didn't see anything personally that I thought was egregious from the people on the Eagles sideline that would have resulted in a penalty. The NFL is taking extra steps, and obviously he was ejected from that game, and he's not allowed to be on the sidelines for this upcoming game as well. Not that that really matters. He's head of security, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's not abnormal to see coaches and staff breaking up a potential fight there on the sideline. And yeah, is that the refs' purvey? But they're not going to be able to handle 53 guys on either side of the field.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Plus
let's talk about
like
egregious. It was nothing was happening yet. It wasn't egregious yet. That's what I'm saying. It's like Dre Greenlaw takes a swipe at him. I mean, really, he just smeared his blush. He just smeared his makeup a little bit. He didn't like punch him or anything. That wasn't really egregious either.
Shame on Dre Greenlaw for not connecting, because you could see it just kind of went like. He like flipped his lip a little bit.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it, make it fucking count. Like anytime you're gonna do something against the rules, make it count.
I think mid-punch, he like opened his hand or something and was like, "Oh, I better not punch this guy." Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened there.
Bitch slap him.
Yeah, he just
with the tip of his nerves.
I saw the meme where it was like, "This is what your sister smells like," or something like that.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, all right, guys, I'll let you go because I'm dragging out your show here when you probably want to get going.
All right, brother. We appreciate you calling in. Your Niners, we got them this week. Enjoy the game, and then we'll talk to you soon.
All right, I'm going to say this and then throw up. Go Cowboys.
Oh, don't ever do that again. All right, love you, Joe.
All right, love you guys.
Later. All righty.
All right.
we can move on from that. It was I watched all that real time. I was explaining it to Hannah as we were watching it. I I get why the NFL removed him from the sideline because they were getting a lot of heat from the 49ers. I didn't think I saw anything that was that egregious from him or to result in a penalty or anything like that. I didn't feel like he was an aggressor or anything like that. And I thought the penalty against Greenlaw for the late hit, that was a little bit closer to bang bang, but the way that he slammed him down and stuff at the sideline, it was going to draw a flag. 9 times out of 10. And then obviously Greenlaw taking a swipe at Dom, that's going to get you ejected.
You can't do that. No throwing punches.
You're not supposed to do it at players, but absolutely not at coaches or staff or refs or anything like that. So
yeah, you're out for sure if that happens. That's just the way it is, man.
But I do think that there is something to be talked about where Joe kind of talked about the line rule and people have to be behind a certain line at the sidelines and stuff like that. That is such a loosely guarded rule. Like you have coaches sometimes on the field of play as the play is going on because they're trying to get a view of what's going on. Like that should be a penalty in reality. Like
no, 100%. I've gotten a sideline penalty. One of our players was running down the field. I was kind of going with him. Officials coming as well. I'm in the restricted area where I'm not supposed to be. Referee bumps into me. Fucking 15-yard penalty. I need to get back, coach.
It seems like that happens so much more in Pee Wee football and high school than it does in the NFL. But the rule is the same, and you have more people on the sidelines. It seems like so.
Well, you have get back coaches. You have a guy who's literally just out there fucking pulling you back.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a coach that actually
McVay. It's Sean McVay has a get back coach.
Like the guy has like a leash on him and is always like holding his ass back.
Dude, I needed one when I was a coach, so I get it. But the whole thing on the sideline with an employee, maybe not a coach, especially a security personnel, it's not a good look. Had to be off the sideline. I assume he will be back. I don't think this is going to be like something that is going to ruin his ability to be on the sidelines.
It is. He has become like a folk hero.
Yeah, exactly.
In Philly. So the guy will
You don't fucking stand in Dre Greenlaw's face with no protection and go and stand up for your dudes and then them just cast you to the wolves. You have earned a lot of respect inside that organization and that locker room.
The guy will eat gabagool and cheesesteaks and drink for free in Philly, I think, for the rest of his life, probably.
Yes.
So it is what it is. But anyways, we can move off of that one. We made a whole lot out of nothing from that game and from Joe's call, which is great. I love it. Love Joe calling in because let's be real, 49ers are going to probably
they're going to stomp them.
All righty. Next game up in our afternoon slate, Bills and the Chiefs. And if you were looking at this game, right? At the beginning of the year, you're like, fuck yes. This is what we're talking about. I love a good Bills-Chiefs game. It's not really the case right now. I mean, this has a potential to be a little bit better. Bills coming off of a bye. Kansas City, they're 4-1 straight up and against the spread at home in their last 5 games. The Bills and Chiefs, I believe they've Josh Allen and Mahomes have played each other 5 times. Mahomes has 3 wins, 2 of them in the playoffs. Allen has 2 wins. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs, they are lacking passing talent on offense, and the Bills are lacking offense in general. They also have a decimated defense for the Bills, just tons of injuries and an underperforming defense overall. On the flip side, the Chiefs defense is actually playing pretty darn good. They're solid. They're probably a top 10, if not top 5 type defense right now. And playing at home in Kansas City. Again, I believe truly they were robbed last week. The Chiefs should have won in Green Bay because of that PI call or lack of PI call. It was egregious. It's bad when you have the commentators saying, like, what the hell is going on? Why was that not called? It should have been called for sure. And that would have changed the game. There's no way that the Chiefs wouldn't have scored on that one, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
So that is changing narratives for the Packers and for the Chiefs here, because the Chiefs, scrappy. They should have won. They don't have a whole lot of receiving help there. But in this one, the line is Kansas City -1, over under a 48.5. What do you got going with this game? I'm hoping for a good one, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, so this game, I don't know that it's going to be really any good. But actually, before we do that, we got some breaking news. We're going to let producer Amber break in right now. We have a wrestling match getting ready to go on with my daughter, Aubrey. And then we'll come back because this game, I'm interested. I'm very excited to talk about it. So
Look at me.
out.
There you go.
All right. Now, do we know
Look at
how
him.
to?
Yep, I got
There you
you.
go. Keep
There
trying.
we go.
Keep going. Push. Push
All
your
right, come
legs.
on, Aubrey.
There you
Come
go.
on, kiddo. Come on. Stay with him. Stay with him. There you go. Come on, stay
She
with him.
was very
Stay with him.
nervous.
Doing good.
Yes, she was
Let's
very
go,
nervous.
kiddo. She looks good. She ain't afraid. That's for damn sure.
Definitely seems to be the aggressor here.
Yes. If anybody who knows this little girl, she's always the aggressor. Let's drive. Yes, good.
Get the half in. Get the half in.
Yeah, 2 points.
Let's go.
Come on.
All the coaches are yelling at her, telling her what to do.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Stay right here, Lizzie.
You're my buddy.
Keep working, kiddo. Uh-oh. Looks like we lost her for a second. Hey, definitely the aggressor there. Got a nice little takedown. Sorry, I'm like totally dadding out right now. But you know what? She's being aggressive. She's going for it, getting points.
Absolutely.
Looks like we lost producer Amber.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get her back here shortly. Awesome though. Aubrey's a badass.
Thank you, Facebook user. I agree. Aubrey is badass. Hey, nice little takedown. I like that.
Absolutely. Going back to this Chiefs game, though, one thing of note as well, the Chiefs will be without Isaiah Pacheco. He has got a shoulder contusion, won't be playing this week. That is obviously their biggest running threat. So that could change up the dynamic there a little bit. For me, it's can the Bills offense put together a good game? Let's back up here.
All right.
Sorry.
That's all right, producer Amber. We appreciate you coming in live for us.
Aubrey's got 4 points. Opponent has 1.
Okay, so he's got the escape. She got 2 takedowns, and he's got 1 escape. All right. Shoot. Pop the arm and shoot. Oh.
She's trying to listen to coach.
Drive him.
She's up in 2 matches.
Good job. There you go. Get his ass. Stay with him. Keep him down.
She doesn't understand what she's got to do to get him to be done.
All right.
And she
Hello,
won.
yeah. That is her very first win. Thank you, producer Amber, for breaking in and chilling that. When she gets up, and tell her that Daddy got to watch and that I'm very proud of her.
I sure will. Do you want me to come back for G? He's up in
How many matches does he have?
2, but he's up in 2 matches. Oh, he's got 1 more.
We're gonna break down the game and then we'll get you back in.
Okay, I will be ready.
All right. Whew. All right. Hey, congratulations, baby girl. Love you. Great job.
That's awesome that we got to watch that on the show. Sorry that you weren't there. That's unfortunate.
Okay.
But this is probably secondary best experience because now she's forever first win
Forever immortalized here live
immortalized
on
on
the
the
Lineman
Lounge. Yep. Awesome. And this is a family show. It's what we do, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's talk about this fucking football game.
Yeah. All right, Bills Chiefs. Who you got in this one? Kansas City -1 right now is the line that I'm seeing. I'm going to double check here online.
I like the Bills in this game. The Bills obviously have been not in a great spot. Coming off a bye, though, under Sean McDermott, they are 6-0 outright. They are dogs in this game. If they lose this game, if the Bills lose this game, they are in very serious danger of not making the playoffs at all. They are 6-6. They are currently the 11th seed. They have got to win this game. It is a must-win game for the Bills, and I believe that they will. Give me the Bills plus the point, but I believe that they are going to win this outright on the money line.
All right. I honestly don't know where I'm going with it. Because like the Bills offense has just been so terrible this year. Like they'll have spurts of being okay, but like I don't know, man. This is a rough one. They're coming off a bye.
Off a bye.
Yeah, I'll go with the Bills plus the
Sean
point
McDermott,
too. Fuck it. Why not? Right now, 55% of the bets, 75% of the money is on the Bills on this one, which is kind of surprising to me. But yeah, I guess that's the play.
Bills plus the point. I would like Bills plus or Bills money line. I cannot see. I mean, Kansas City money line, sure. Dropping a point, I don't know if it makes a big difference. Like 1 point is so fucking close. Like it's literally a half a point away from a pick 'em. That's the only fucking difference here. So if you go either way here in this game, I can totally see it. If you're trying to set a parlay for today, I keep this game off of it because they're so fluid.
It can break a parlay for you.
It could. This is a game that breaks a parlay for sure. Keep it off your parlays.
Yep. Now, this is a game we're going to talk about here in a little bit, but it's relevant. 25 minutes ago, Jaguars officially announced Trevor Lawrence is going to start today's game versus the Browns. He was expected to start, which was surprising with how bad of that injury looked at the end of the game last week, but expected to start. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Next up, we have the Broncos and the Chargers in Inglewood, California. The line is Chargers -2.5, over under of 44.5. Again, this is something that I've been pushing. Broncos have been frauds in this win streak that came to an end last week. However, they're going up against the Chargers, who again put up 6 points last week.
Shit.
And yeah, now the Chargers are at home. They are playing in a dome. Weather was a factor last week versus the Patriots, but still, at the end of the day, you'd expect a little bit more than 6 points going up against a terrible team like the Pats. Chargers, 6-0 win versus New England Broncos. Yeah. That's all the stuff, all the points, all the notes that I had. What do you got going for this game? Chargers -2.5, over under 44.5.
Yeah, Chargers fucking stink, and the Broncos are kind of frauds. I still believe that to be true. I don't think that the Chargers are 2.5 points better. I think the Broncos could win this fucking game. And the Chargers this season have been really bad when games have been close. 1-5 against the spread this season when the line is between +3 and -3. And they're 0-3 in their last 3. Like, that's bad. I think the Chargers are just kind of, they've punted on the season. I believe they're just about eliminated from playoff contention if they haven't already. Like, they are very close to being eliminated. I think that kind of happens this week. This is a lost season for the Chargers. They'll hit the reset button. Staley will be gone. They'll find somebody else to come in. I think they'd lose this game, but I'm not going to take the Broncos to win. I'm going to take the Broncos plus the points. I feel good with getting 2.5. Just because, I'm off the Chargers. I'm all the way off. So, yeah, Broncos plus 2.5.
Yeah, Chargers are in a weird spot here because, look, Austin Eckler is probably their best offensive weapon outside of Keenan Allen, and then you obviously have Justin Herbert. Quentin Johnson still dropping balls. He dropped another big one last week. Terrible pick. Austin Eckler, though, is the point that I want to make. He does not look like Austin Eckler like we've seen basically his entire starting career there with the Chargers. He made a big deal about his contract this offseason, and it seems like maybe he is starting to regress and fall off that running back cliff a little bit. That's what I'm worried about for him, because he's one of my favorite running backs out there in the league, especially because he's been a stalwart for me in fantasy for the past couple of years, minus this year because I wasn't able to get him. Maybe it's an offensive difference, not having the same scheme there on offense, and that's changing up his play a little bit. But either way, you can't count on Eckler to be the explosive, runner and more so receiver that he was in the past. And that's unfortunate for the Chargers. Broncos on the other side, look, I said that they've been frauds. They have found themselves into a lot of wins because of opportunistic turnovers, not always delivered by their defense. It has been offensive giving up a lot of those turnovers. That being said, I will step back now that the Chargers have lost a game here, the Broncos have lost a game here. They're frauds in those wins, but they've been playing competitive football. And so I am in agreement with you. Broncos plus the points here. I think that they have a chance to win this game outright, but I'll take the points if you're going to give it to me. The Chargers are, I can't look past the 6 points last week. I can't. I can't look past Brandon Staley. The Chargers have fucked me in the past when I've picked them. They should be the better team here. They won't be. Broncos plus the points for me.
All right. And we're going to break in one last time for today's show with one more wrestling match. Oh, you do it. You do it.
Come on. I don't know what he's
All right, come on, G. Come on, G. Got to pop the elbow. Belly down, belly down, belly down. Come on. Come on, G. Come on. Way to get belly down. What's score right now, producer Amber?
It is 2-0, not the opponent.
Okay, no back points there. That's good.
Hey,
2
hold
points
on,
for the
okay?
takedown.
Come on, G!
Good! Kick your legs back! Kick your legs back!
There you go. Coach is definitely loud enough to give the instructions.
Mommy!
Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy.
Mommy! I said no.
Okay, hold on, I'll fix it in a second. Aubrey, share. Please. Share. I'm gonna beat him.
Producer
right.
Amber threatening to murder our children live on the show as well.
Well,
All right.
Aubrey's not
What
sharing.
happened here?
He's fixing his stuff.
All right.
Still
All right.
2-0. There's 30 seconds left. 27 seconds.
Come on, G. Got to make a move, kid.
Shrug it! Shrug it back, good! Go again!
Come on, kid.
Exhausting.
Belly down. Come on, belly down. Trap your arm. Oh, come on.
It's time.
Please.
Kid only got only got 2.
All right, tough matchup here. Is this the kid he wrestled last week?
I think so.
Yeah, this kid is strong. This kid is big and strong.
Yeah.
Go on to the other one and go for it! Good, go!
I want to see him use the move that he learned this week.
Go, G, go.
Oh,
No! Get your face! Good, go!
Tough.
Roll! 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 Roll!
on, G.
Go, G. Go. Roll. Do it. Oh. Trap the arm and roll him.
Come on, bud.
Looks like
That
he's about
kid
to be
is
done.
so strong.
G's not a small kid. He just turns his ass over.
He's fighting it, though. I'm glad to see him working hard.
He's still fighting. Ooh.
So he lost 9-0.
Tough one. Thanks, producer Amber. We're going to get back to picking some games, and I'll see you guys in a minute.
Okay, love you, bye.
Love you, bye. All right. Hey, man, not going to win them all. It's tough. But, hey, I'm glad he's still out there. I'm glad he's working. He's not a wrestler. This is for football anyways. Learn how to manipulate your body and somebody else's body, hopefully. But good job, G. He's got another match. So as soon as we get done with this, I'm going to try to bounce out there. Let's roll through some of these games. We both got Broncos plus 2.5 for our last game. What's our next one?
All right. This goes to our Monday night games. No, never mind. We got Sunday night.
Sunday night, right?
Eagles and Cowboys. That's a little bit of a teaser. There's 2 Monday night games. Eagles and Cowboys being played in Arlington, Texas. Dallas minus 3.5 is your line. Over under a 51.5. Interesting one because the Eagles ended up taking that big loss last week. Their defense, specifically the secondary, kind of looks decimated. Dak, he is 3-1 in his last 4 starts against the Eagles with a 74% completion percentage, 14 touchdowns to 1 interception. Cowboys are undefeated in their last 14 home games. They're 11-3 against the spread, and that time averaging 36.6 points per game. That offense has been playing very good. They squeaked one out last week against the Seahawks. That was their whole, can they beat 500 teams or not? They beat one last week, barely. The Eagles are a good team, but they absolutely got their shit rocked last week by the 49ers. Can they come back? Can that secondary hold up to this Cowboys offense?
Yes. I think that last week they got their asses handed to them, and it's going to leave a very, very sour taste in their mouth. Like, have you ever listened to the new Heights show?
Yes.
Yeah. So I love a great show. Couple of Cleveland boys as well. Jason is done talking about other things besides winning football games. He's tired of talking about the brotherly shove and all these other things. There's a lot of things that are being talked about the Eagles besides playing football. I think they bounce back. I don't like the Cowboys finally got a win against the team that had a winning record, but they didn't do it convincingly. And it was against the Seahawks with a banged up Geno Smith. Like, I'm not sold on the Cowboys yet at all. Eagles plus the points for me. I believe that they can win this game and probably will win this game outright, though.
All right. I am going to go with Dallas. I'm just going to go with Dallas money line. I think that Dallas is going to be able to throw on that defense, and that's what scares me, is that I don't know that the Eagles are going to be able to defend against it very well. DeAndre Swift's a little bit beat up, and just the way that the 49ers were able to roll over him last week, it scares me a little bit. Cowboys have been real good at home. I'm going to ride with that. I don't feel great about this. I like this game. This should hopefully be a really good game. I will say this as well. Vegas is heavily on the Eagles on this one. 73% of the bets, 82% of the money on the Eagles. So your pick probably bears out a little bit well with what the majority of people are doing. I'm just going to stick with, and I don't like saying go Cowboys either, Joe, because I hate their fan base. Typically I feel like the Eagles are just going to work over the Cowboys. This week, I'm not so sure. We'll see. It's a tough one for me to pick this one, but yeah, I'll go with the Cowboys money line. All right, Monday night games. We have 2 of them, and they're both at 6:15. Thanks, NFL. They're both not great games either.
One's going to be a blowout, and one's not going to score any points.
Very, very potentially, yes. So we've got the Dolphins and Titans as our first one being played in Miami. This is the one, if you're going to watch either of them, I'm probably going to watch that just to see what the Dolphins can do. Miami, minus 13 is your line right now. Over under of 46.5. That's a huge spread for me to be taking Miami. So I'm going to be going Miami money line in this one. don't really have to throw out a whole lot of stats for this, but I'll give some to you here. Titans are 0-7 on the road this year, 0-10 in their last 10 road games overall. Dolphins are 9-0 against teams under 500, averaging 37 points per game. Obviously, they had the big one versus Denver early in the year, which boosts those numbers a little bit, so keep that in mind. Since week 8, the Dolphins defense, though, they have been first in points per game, second in yards per game, and first in yards per play. That defense has been playing outstanding. Week 8 is also when they got Jalen Ramsey back. That has actually really been transformative for that defense, having him out there. Good signing this offseason. It's Dolphins for me. 13 points. Yeah, they probably should beat them by that. The way the Titans have been playing, the way Levis has not been playing well. But also, is Derrick Henry going to be playing in this one? I'm not positive.
I believe he is going to be out, and Tajay Spears will be getting a run there.
Yeah. So Dolphins for me, money line, easy pick. I don't see any way that the Titans compete.
The Dolphins are going to win this game, and I'm going to get ballsy, and I'm going to drop 13 points. The Dolphins are explosive as fuck in everything they do on offense. The Titans are terrible on defense, especially in the back end. Like, the speed from the Dolphins is going to be up and down the fucking field all goddamn night. I actually like the over in this game as well, because I think the Dolphins are going to put up 42 fucking points.
Alrighty. I'm really hoping for a big Jalen Waddle game.
Yeah, so Dolphins minus 13 for me. I expect it to be at least that much.
Alrighty. Next up, we have the Packers and Giants being played in New Jersey. You have the Paisan Passion, Tommy DeVito, starting despite Tyrod Taylor being eligible to play this game. He's a little bit disappointed that he's not the starter anymore, but you got to kind of ride with the hot hand, I guess.
Hey, he's earned DeVito's
the hot hand. 2-1 in his 3 games that he's started this year. Obviously, he's going to be limited as far as being a quarterback, but the Giants have made it work for them so far, getting a couple wins there. The line is Green Bay minus 6.5, over under of 36.5. Green Bay, December, they win games. They've won 16 straight December games, all with LaFleur as the head coach.
Yeah.
That being said, Green Bay was handed a win. Again, I'll say it's handed a win versus the Chiefs from that no PI call, and that refereeing crew is being investigated from it. So they should have had a loss last week. And again, DeVito 2-1 as a starter. Good for him. Probably not long for the NFL. Maybe as a backup going forward, but
I think the Paisan has earned himself a spot as a backup somewhere, at least practice squad. Wait for an injury to happen.
Squad, yeah, something like that. But you got to expect Danny Dimes will probably still be with his team next year. He just won't necessarily
with
be
the amount of money
starter.
that they gave.
You can expect them to be looking for a quarterback in the draft as well. So if their head coach wants to have any sort of a longer run there, he's going to need to develop a quarterback other than Danny Dimes, because he ain't the one.
Develop Tommy. I mean, Tommy's not it, obviously, but I think Tommy gives you a better shot to win a game than Danny Dimes does right now. I really do. The ball security.
I don't like either of them.
The ball security has been the main concern with Danny Dimes the entire time. Like, he just turns the ball over, and he turns the ball over in really bad spots. I like the Giants to cover in this game because Tommy's been playing good ball. And listen, I get it. The Packers are good at home. They're good in December. They win in December with LaFleur. They're not playing in Lambeau, though. They're playing in East Rutherford. I think that the Giants can keep this close. 6.5 is a lot. The Packers have not really been a team that I think is a touchdown better than any team that they've played. Now, maybe Giants early in the season when they have Danny Dimes starting and he's turning the ball over all the time. But this team is playing better as of recently. So, yeah, I'm going Giants plus 6.5.
Yeah, I really want to go Giants plus 6.5. It's tough for me because I don't really like this Giants team. I don't like the Packers team either, but it's tough for me to deny. They've been playing better football, more competitive football. Love has gotten better. He's not good, but he's gotten better. The young receivers for the Packers are starting to gel in a lot more. They're utilizing them better, especially Reed is getting a lot of good play on like the sweeps and things like that. I believe Dillon is still going to be the starter for this game. Jair Alexander also out. That is a knock for the Packers defense. The safe play for me here.
You're talking yourself into
the Packers money line. But I'm going to go ahead. I'll take the Giants, early Christmas miracle, Giants plus the 6.5 points. Again, don't really like it, but I'll take it. 61% of the bets, 71% of the money on Green Bay in this game, though. So Green Bay probably wins. The safe play here is probably picking the Packers to win this game outright, money line. But I will go with the Giants plus the points because I'm being goaded into it a little bit.
Yeah,
and I hate the fucking Packers. Also, if somehow Green Bay is able to drop this one, that'd be fantastic. I would absolutely love that. Go Giants. Go Bill Coleman and his Giants.
Every time that you have taken the Packers, it's hit.
Yeah.
Every time. I went back and looked. Every time you've taken the Packers, you've gotten it right. You sure you want to stay with it?
Yeah.
Are you gonna? Okay.
Giants plus the points.
Fuck the Packers.
Tommy DeVito is currently better than Kirk Cousins. Yes, because Kirk Cousins is injured. Thanks, Roberto Gussolini.
I mean, Tommy DeVito's playing better. I would take Tommy DeVito over fucking Danny Dimes, especially with the price point. Like how much Danny Dimes costs.
Yeah. You can build a better roster around him if you didn't have that contract.
Give me fucking DeVito for sure.
All right. We'll go ahead now. Jump back in time. Jaguars, Browns in Cleveland. Minus Cleveland, -2, 37.5 is your over-under. Who's your starting quarterback this week?
Yeah, I don't know. I believe we're going to be going with Joe Flacco.
Elevated off the practice squad, Joe Flacco.
Yes, elevated off the practice squad. PJ Walker has been released, but DTR has cleared concussion protocol. So I think it's possible we may see a little bit of a combination of both. But I believe that Joe is getting the start.
Okay.
Let me double check.
This is a tough one for me because Trevor Lawrence playing, if Trevor Lawrence wasn't hurt, I would probably be leaning towards Jacksonville because they're one of the better teams in the AFC. That being said, with that injury, how long can he really play for? That looked bad. I didn't expect him to be playing this week. I mean, high ankle sprain took out Kenny Pickett for, put him on IR. He had to have surgery. Jacksonville is going to be making a playoff run this year. If Trevor Lawrence wasn't playing in this game, Houston probably ends up taking the AFC South. But Jacksonville still would be a playoff team. With Trevor Lawrence playing, it gives them a better opportunity to win than if CJ Beathard is playing. But I don't know what sort of Trevor Lawrence we're really going to be seeing out there. It's a tough one for me because we don't know what you're getting out of T-Law.
Right.
Especially going up against that Cleveland defense.
Yeah, can I give you some numbers?
Sure.
Before you make any decisions. So Browns at home this season, 5-1 against the spread. Unders 5-0-1. So that defense shows the fuck up at home. Very, very good. But Denzel Ward is not playing in this game. He is inactive again for the third straight week. We will see Martin Emerson and Greg Newsome as our starting corners. Can they hold up? Yeah, but there's going to be some tough matchups in that secondary. With Trevor Lawrence starting, that is a big deal for the Jags. Is he going to be able to be as healthy? I don't know. If he has to move around at all, he's in deep shit. Browns at home following a loss, 8-1-1 against the spread. I like the Browns in this game to win. I am not dropping in the points. If Trevor Lawrence was not playing, I was going to drop the points. Trevor Lawrence expected to start. Joe Flacco also expected to start. Looked really good. Offense moved the ball pretty effectively, at least in the first couple of drives. First half, they looked really good with Joe Flacco. So, yeah, I'm going Browns. The defense at home has been great. Banged up Trevor Lawrence. But if you go the other way, especially if you take the points, completely understand that. For me, I'm going Browns on the money line.
Yeah. Looks like wins are going to be in the high teens, low 20s as well during game time. There was initially thought to be possibly some precipitation, but it's going to be about 45 degrees, and I'm seeing 0% precip. I'm going to go Browns money line as well on this one. That defense should be able to get after Lawrence today. I'm not sure how long he stays out there if he starts to look ineffective. And then once CJ Beathard is in, I don't have a whole lot of faith in that Jacksonville offense being able to push it down the field. Their defense has been okay, but it's been about the offense for the Jaguars, and I don't know the offense is going to be able to get rolling against your guys' defense this week.
If they can effectively run misdirection plays with Travis Etienne and get him on the edge, they will have a good day. That is what they're going to have to do. That is where we're susceptible as the Browns with misdirection and getting out to the edge. So that's the key to today's game.
Alrighty. And then last one up, we have my Vikings here in the afternoon. Vikings in Vegas versus the Raiders. Really wish I could have gone to this game. That would have been fun. Line is Minnesota -3, over under of 40.5. This is a little bit of a scary one, though, because it feels like a good game for the Raiders plus the points, making me almost want to take it. 75% of the money is on the Raiders plus the points here. 55% of the money or bets are on the Vikings for this one. Coming off of our bye week, Josh Dobbs maintaining himself as the starting quarterback for now. Vikings are 6-1 in their last 7 against the spread. If the Raiders play a quarterback contained style defense, which is what we've seen the past 2 weeks going up against the Vikings, they could absolutely win this game. Josh Dobbs, I feel like he's been holding the ball a little bit too long in the pocket, and he's not had the ability to scramble out because of that quarterback contained style defensive end play. I like Dobbs. I like what he can do outside of the pocket. I think we need to run a lot more bootleg, naked boots, things like that with him to give him the option to be out of the pocket, assess 1-2 reads, and then run the ball if need be. Big get for us this week is we're getting Justin Jefferson back. It'll be interesting to see how Dobbs and Jefferson are able to link up and play together. I'll go Minnesota money line. I think that the safer play here is probably the Raiders plus the points. You got Aiden O'Connell playing quarterback again. It'll be fun to watch Flores' defense as it is every week. See him go up against his quarterback and dial up all sorts of fun blitzes and stuff like that. It's the linchpin is, can Dobbs and the Vikings offense get going, or will the Raiders defense be able to somehow contain him? Vikings money line for me. I got to take my team. I'm hopeful that we win this game. Hopeful to see a little bit of a spark like we saw the first couple games from Dobbs, but that's hopefully from game planning and stuff like that off the bye week and just getting him more time with this team. The turnovers have been terrible. The turnovers haven't all been his fault. A lot of tips and dropped passes that have turned into turnovers, but still, that's got to get cleaned up. Turnovers have been the bane of this Vikings team all year. If we don't have those turnovers, we typically win the games. So we'll see.
Yeah. You guys actually 6-0 outright as road favorites under Kevin O'Connell. Very good on the road under Kevin O'Connell, especially when you're favorite. I like that trend to continue today. I'm also on your Vikings on the money line. Raiders, they're an interesting team. We're going to need to obviously continue to pay attention. I like Pierce out there as the coach. Like, he could maybe stick around. Quarterback will be an interesting dynamic. Obviously, they just spent some money on Jimmy G. That relationship will be done after this 1 year. And we'll see where they go from there. But today, I like you guys to continue that trend. Kevin O'Connell finds a way to get you guys going on the road. Get a win, go hit Caesars, and fucking enjoy that game check.
All righty. Yeah, I'm really hoping for a win. I'm not super I don't have a strong feeling that we will win, but hopeful. Either way, like I'm at this point in the season for the Vikings where it's like, could we make the playoffs? Yeah. Do I want us to? I mean, as a fan, yes, but also as a fan, I want a better draft pick. And right now, like, we are in a shitty limbo spot where it's like we could lose out the rest of the year and we're still going to have a mid-round pick in the first round, which kind of sucks. I'm hoping for Jaden Daniels.
So
but
for me, it's always okay. So if we make the playoffs, can we win? can we do anything when we get there? If you can't, is it worth it?
Yeah.
In the NFL, I'm not sure that it is. Major League Baseball, yeah, sure. I mean, you can go ahead, it makes you look a little bit more attractive that you team was decent. Yeah, but in the NFL, that doesn't matter. You're playing for a lot of draft picks. The winners of free agency very rarely become the winners of the fucking Super Bowl. So, yeah, for me, if you're not good enough to try to compete to win a Super Bowl, do you really want to make it? But also, I'm a Browns fan, and I don't know what it's fucking like to go. So,
yeah,
maybe
Vikings
that's why I have that mindset.
Vikings for a while have kind of been a playoff team every other year, and it's like one and done.
Yeah.
So, I'd rather us not make the playoffs. We have very good justification this year for not making the playoffs. Your quarterback went down.
Yep.
So that it's a decent reset year where you have a good excuse as to why you wouldn't have made the playoffs, and it allows you to have a better draft position. So I'm okay with it. I'm not going to be heartbroken if we lose this game by any means, unless there's a reason to be heartbroken as to why we lost, but
Right.
which is always a possibility. But Vikings money line for me, and that wraps up our slate of games for this week. Which the games should start here in about 45 minutes.
About 45 minutes. I'm going to cut these and post them to the Facebook and to the Twitter. But guys, with that, we're going to get the fuck out of here. We got stuff to do. I'm going to go try to catch my kids, wrestle a little bit, and then watch some games. But guys, anytime you spend time with us, we cannot thank you enough for that. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is the Lineman Lounge. If you want to interact with the show, go to Facebook. We got a group and a page, Twitter at Lineman Lounge, TikTok, Instagram, all that shit. If you want to listen to our beautiful voices, go to any podcast platform. You can catch all the shows there. Or if you want to watch and participate in the show, we go live every weekend. And sometimes we go live a little earlier if we have to. But go to the YouTube, hit the bell, subscribe, like, all that shit. Share us with your friends. We thank you. We appreciate you. But we're going to get the fuck out of here.
One real quick thing. Yep. The talk. We released our new episode this week.
We did.
It is a good one. And if you want to see me get the shit beat out of me, check out the Talks Facebook page. We'll pump that on our social medias, especially the Facebook, to go watch that episode. It's a great episode. And then also there's some follow-on content on the Facebook page of me, unfortunately, getting my ass whooped. The woman put that on TikTok, by the way, and it's got a lot of likes and a lot of fucking views.
I need that video so I could post it to the Twitter, the Talk Twitter as well.
All right. Well, I'll make sure to get that over to you.
Right.
But that's my one note. Otherwise, ready to get out of here.
All right. Guys, we're going to get the fuck out of here. We will see you next week. See you.
Yep.